they took the down bites off.
And the presentation is here, so just, you can, let's do this actually. So when you're, let's give it a second. Okay, that's it. We're live. When you're ready, Art, to share your screen, then we'll, I can help, but basically you'll go to this, share, and then go back to you.
Oh, can we just do that now?
Yeah, if you want to do it now. Then we should be able to do this as well. See, full screen. We do full screen there? No. There it goes. Perfect. We are going. So I think David, to start things off, I'm gonna catch anyone else that comes in. I'm ready to go.
You bet. Thanks, everyone. Okay, good evening, everybody. I will begin tonight's proceedings. My name is David Doofman. I'm a hearings officer for the city of Sherwood. We have one item on the agenda this evening. It's a hearing to consider an addition to the St. Francis School. I'll go ahead and open the public hearing for this matter. It relates to case file LU 2025-006MM. It's an application for a type 3 major modification to develop a 7,940 square foot addition to an existing educational facility in the institutional public or IP zoning district. The applicant is Soderstrom Architecture, who serves as the architect for the owner, St. Francis Catholic Church. I'm going to ask Art just for a brief introduction about how the hearing will proceed this evening, and then I'll have a few more things to say and we can get started.
Okay, great. So I'm Art Graves. I'm city staff. So the public hearing this evening will be conducted as follows. Staff will present the staff report. Questions, if any, by the hearing body for staff will be followed. Next, we will open up the public hearing for testimony, and time will be limited as follows. Applicants, approximately 30 minutes. Persons in favor of the application, approximately 4 minutes. Persons opposed to the application, also 4 minutes. Rebuttal from the applicant, the remainder of the 30 minutes. Then no testimony will be taken from the public or applicant unless the public testimony period is reopened. Final comments by staff, followed by questions of staff, if any, by the hearings officer, and deliberation by the hearings officer.
Great, thanks, Art. The applicable criteria for the application are set out in the staff report to me, the hearings officer, and Art will talk about the applicable criteria during his presentation. Following the close of this hearing, I may make a tentative oral decision, or I might take the matter under advisement. Either way, I will issue a final written decision after the hearing and the record are closed. Because this is the initial evidentiary hearing, state law allows any party to request a continuance of the hearing or request that the written record remain open after the close of the hearing. If you want me to continue the hearing or you want me to keep the record open, you must make that request prior to the end of the hearing this evening. If the matter is continued, it will be to a date certain, and this will be the only notice of that date that you receive. If I leave the record open, I will explain the specifics at the end of the hearing. Staff will recognize those who have maybe signed up in advance to provide testimony virtually. When it is your time to provide testimony, please state your name and address for the record. And I guess, Art, I'll ask, do you know if anybody did sign up beforehand?
No, no one signed up beforehand.
Okay. So we're not expecting any remote testimony tonight. If you're in the audience, and you're not with the applicant team and wish to speak, please fill out one of the testimony request forms and submit it to planning staff. I have two of those currently. I think the first is from Paul. Is that correct? Excellent. Hi, Paul, and Tammy. Hey, Tammy. Let's see, where was I? Oh, here we go. Okay. And then I will let you know when it's your turn to speak tonight. When it is, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. And if you have any questions of the application of the team, you can direct those to me, and then we'll make sure that we can get those answered either through staff or the applicant later in the hearing. My role is that of a neutral decision maker. In reaching a decision on the application, I may only consider whether the application meets the relevant approval criteria according to the regulations. Those criteria, as I said, are identified in the staff report. The staff report was available online and at City Hall. The city published it 7 days before this meeting. It was available for the public to review. Testimony and evidence must address these criteria, or you should identify other criteria you believe that are applicable. Note, you must raise all relevant issues before the record closes in this matter. You may be prevented from raising an issue in any further appeal if you do not raise it orally or in writing before the close of the record. Please raise it with enough detail to allow the applicant, other parties, and me to respond to the issue. The failure of the applicant to raise constitutional or other issues relating to proposed conditions of approval with sufficient specificity to allow me to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in circuit court. I've had no ex parte contacts concerning this application. That means I haven't had any conversations or interactions outside of this hearing about the merits of the application. I have no conflicts of interest relative to the application, meaning I have no financial interest in a particular outcome. I also have no bias towards any party or the application, and I believe I can objectively consider the facts and render an impartial decision. Having made these declarations, does anyone wish to challenge my ability to conduct the hearing tonight? Okay, seeing no challenges, I'll go ahead and ask Planner Art Graves to present the staff report, please.
Great, thank you. So again, this is a hearing, land use hearing for St. Francis School addition. It's a major modification. Skip over that or cover that briefly, but applicant is Soderstrom. The address is 15651 Southwest Oregon Street. Again, the request is to develop an approximately 8,000 square foot classroom addition to an existing educational institution. Zoning, we'll go into a little bit more detail on this in a second, is light industrial, and this is a type 3 process. This is just showing the applicable zoning criteria that it was scrutinized against. Site location, kind of in the center of the city boundary. This is it's coming to zooming in. It's Southwest Langer Farms Parkway to the east, and south is Southwest Oregon Street. So again, the actual project is in the northwest corner of the site. Currently, there is parking in that location, and will be replaced by, again, approximately 8,000 square foot building. The history is pretty simple. There was a conditional use, site plan review and conditional use, essentially to establish the school in 2001, and then, or 2003, sorry. And then in 2009, in addition, approximately 10,000 square feet for a sports facility and media library. Zoning, as I mentioned, is industrial public IP. North of that is residential zone, high density residential. South is also high density residential PUD, as well as the medium density residential high, another residential zone. Cross Langer Farms is light industrial and a light industrial PUD. Major modification, just move this guy a little bit. Major modification review is required if one or more of the following changes listed below are proposed. And rather than list them all, I kind of cut to the chase. It says number 5, an increase in the floor area or height proposed for non-residential use by more than 10%. And just to spell that out, the existing development on site is approximately 42,000 square feet, and the proposed addition is, like I said, approximately 8,000 square feet. Beyond that, the use is allowed outright. And per the applicant's narrative, the addition will provide more classroom space for the pre-K through 8 students. It is not anticipated to increase overall enrollment in the private school. The major modification approval is upon the review authority determining the proposed modification is a major modification. The applicant must submit an application form, filing fee and narrative, and a site plan using the same plan format as the original approval. The review authority may require other relevant information as necessary to elevate the request. This is done. The application is subject to the same review procedure, in this case type 3, and decision-making body as the initial project approval, except that adding a conditional use to an approved type 2 project is reviewed using a type 3 procedure. The approval criteria and standards in effect at the time of the current land use submittal apply to the modification request. The scope of review is limited to the modification request and does not open the entire site up for additional review unless impacted by the proposed modification. For example, a request to modify a parking lot requires site design review only for the proposed parking lot and any changes to the associated access, circulation pathways, lights, trees, and landscaping, etc. Notice must be provided in accordance with Chapter 1672.0.020. The decision maker approves, denies, or approves with conditions an application for major modification based on written findings of the criteria. So jumping kind of right to the site for a second. So this is the proposed addition. The applicant team will speak to this in detail in a few minutes. And just kind of a rendering of the proposal. So again, the addition right here, kind of play area just north, a little utility, kind of exterior utility area, new sidewalk connecting to the existing sidewalk. I put this in because there was a condition of approval that was added. It's in the staff report, but it basically speaks to the primary path. And so this is the applicant establishing the primary path as it runs around the site. Since this sidewalk is being altered, technically this primary path has to be a minimum of 6 feet in width. And by my measurement, this area, it's a little pinch point, and that is slightly less than 6 feet in width. So I'm just highlighting that. Should I
I don't think we need to read all of them.
read all of them? Okay.
I don't think so, unless the applicant has any concerns, we could go over them specifically, but no, I don't think, maybe just the new condition.
Okay, and so the new condition I still added at the end. So conditions of approval as they were written out in the staff report, the general conditions, and then development bureaus added additional conditions of approval. This was the condition of approval that I just mentioned prior to issuance of the building permit. All new primary path sidewalks shall meet the 6-foot width per, and then list the code section. And then again, additional conditions of approval prior to occupancy. So there was one conditional approval that was added. It's not in the staff report, and it essentially is previous City of Sherwood Transportation System Development Charges, SDCs, and Washington County Transportation Department tax, DDT fees, have been paid up to 245 students. If enrollment exceeds 245 students in the future, the applicant is responsible for notifying the City of Sherwood of the increase within 60 days and pay the applicable SDC and TDT fees. The SDC and TDT fees should be based on adopted fee schedule at the time the enrollment increase. Failure to notify the city of the increase will result in revocation of the land use permit or building occupancy permit for the subject development. And this is just outlining kind of policy and process. Again, there was no testimony or prior comments prior to the hearing. And with that, staff recommends approval with the conditions of approval, including the approval A9 that I just read regarding SDC fees and TDT fees. And so with that, the hearings officer alternatives are approve the application based on findings and conditions in the staff report based on the report dated September 25th. Approve the application or revise findings and conditions, including proposed condition conditional approval A9, or deny the application with revised findings. That is.
Do you mind if I just jump in on A9 really quickly? So A9, we added that. I apologize, to the applicant, give a chance to, I guess, put it in the original staff report. Basically, the reason we'd like it in now is it's the best opportunity to, I guess, be clear on the expectation, but also if we don't get it in now, we could lose the opportunity in the future. Basically, this land use process is the appropriate process to kind of put that condition in there. So absolutely, trust you guys on the enrollment. Frankly, I hope you're successful. And if you have plans to grow, I hope it does grow all the way to, past 245. We're not going to be asking for, annual enrollment or anything like that. It would be on on you guys just to come and let us know. It would get applied at the time of the increase. So the fees do go up basically with inflation every year. And so it'd be at the time that the enrollment actually passes that. But based on our records, you've already paid for up to 245 students. So that's pretty clear in our record. So because you guys didn't have a chance to look at it and we're kind of, showing it now, happy to answer any questions. We can get into those details. Happy to consider, revisions as well. If there's some revisions you think would be helpful. So.
Thanks, Eric. I just have one quick question. I think I understand staff's take on the new condition, and of course, the applicant team will have a chance to comment, on that. The only question I have right now, I guess for Art and Eric, would be with respect to the slide that talked about the pedestrian path that kind of surrounds the subject site. You mentioned how there's a portion that, according to your measurement, was a little under the standard 6 feet. Is that already, and I apologize if it already is addressed.
So that's this area right here.
Right there, okay. Is that dealt with from staff's perspective, like through a condition of approval to just widen it to 6 feet? Make
Right.
sure in a plan, okay.
Right. So essentially the condition of approval is just saying that
Meet the standard.
it needs to meet the standard.
Plans, yeah, okay. And again, of course, the applicant will have an opportunity to comment on that as well if it disagrees or sees it differently. That was the only question I had for staff right now. Great. Okay, excellent. We'll go ahead and turn to the applicant's presentation and testimony, please.
Great, thanks. So my name's Debbie Cleek. I'm with the Booking Group. I'm the land use planner on the project. Just want to thank City of Sherwood staff for working with us on this project and to Art and Hugo earlier for helping us get to this point in our application process. I did have one small comment on the presentation. The zoning of our property was stated wrong twice on the presentation. It's correct on the staff report.
What did
Like our institutional, and it's listed as industrial
Oh,
in the presentation. I don't know what the requirements of the industrial zone is, but the zone that we're in, institutional, both the church and the school are allowed outright. So I just wanted to make that clear that we don't have to get any approval for the uses on the site.
You have a zone change to go through.
Now I work here. And we are also aware of the condition of approval that you sent to us today with the limits on the enrollment of the school. We're fine with that. The facility is being designed for 245 students max. That's how many will be able to fit in the classroom. So there's no anticipation that the school will ever grow any larger than that. They were at 218 students now, so that gives a little buffer to grow. But the purpose of this isn't to grow the school. That's not why St. Francis is developing a new facility. The point is that they are squished into classrooms right now. Some classrooms are taking place in the sanctuary. They want to create classrooms for specific subject matters like Spanish and music. So this is really just creating better facilities for the students that are already there. So to talk more about the project and give a little more color to it, we have Denise Gonzalez, the principal of St. Francis, and Greg Stormer, a parishioner of St. Francis, who will tell you a little bit more.
Good. Thanks, Debbie.
You're welcome.
So as she mentioned, a little history on the property. That particular church was built in 1983. The current school was built in 2004. The original plans for the school, in fact, had a building similar to what we're proposing here tonight. But due to budgetary constraints at the time, I wasn't here at the time, 2004, that was cut. So over the years, as the enrollment has increased, as Debbie mentioned, we've begun to get a little squished with some of the classes that we have. For example, the art room has currently been kind of annexed from a portion of the church. I would call it a large closet. There's also with music as well, and our Spanish teacher runs around on a cart.
Around the whole school.
And the pre-K, we divided our library in half, and they are taking half of the library, and that's where our pre-K is. So effectively, the growing has already happened. We've already done the growing, right? We just need more space for what we have. So when you see the renderings behind us here, you'll see on the lower floor is the pre-K in the music room, and on the second floor, you're going to see the Spanish classroom, art, and science, which we've got over down here right behind you guys. So effectively, that is the reason why we're wanting to build. Now, I'll turn it over to Denise to talk more about the school and tell them where we're at.
Well, we're at 218. When I first came to that school, we had 93 students. And so we are growing, but it's impossible to go over 245. First of all, we like to just keep 20 in a class, but we can go up to 25. We only have 3 classrooms right now that are at 25. It's just way too squishy. You're on top of each other. So our pre-K right now, we cannot get to full capacity because of the square footage with where we're at. So we're in lack of enrolling 3 more students. The pre-K is our feeder to our school. Like what was stated with the Spanish, she does run around on a cart. We now have a level math classes, which is on our gym foyer. It's a makeshift with sliding doors and have the gym foyer. So we are, when tutors come in, they have to go to the concession stand. We can't fully use our concession stand for our gym. So what will happen with the library is we'll use those as resource rooms in the extra classroom that we have upstairs. We can move the level math classroom. So we're not going to be packed, but we will be totally functional. And I think this is a good demonstration right here of the pictures that you can see. with the students in the music room trying to, with their keyboards.
To the hearings officer.
Along with our Spanish teacher and just the need for more space.
Do we need this for the record?
Yeah, it'd be good to get, we can get copies of it if we can,
You can have it.
you know, after.
Keep
Yeah, you
that.
can keep it.
How many copies do you need? Just,
So why don't you keep one and then
Okay.
staff will keep one after and we can scan it in. Yeah, and it actually would be great to give one to members of the public as well. Scan one. This is friend as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
thank you. So, we did review the conditions of approval beyond the one that you sent us today, and we, are in agreement with the conditions. We think they all seem to be pretty standard language in terms of what's gonna be required for utility connections, and, we have no concerns with getting the sidewalk connection widened. There is plenty of room to make that happen, so, we are in agreement with the staff report, or, yeah.
One quick question.
Yeah.
For you, and I think you already mentioned it, but I just want to make sure I got it correct. With respect to the new condition A9, applicants okay with that as well?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. I don't have any questions for you right now. It's a really well done application, which is always nice. I see a lot of these, so kudos. I may have some questions after some public testimony, and you'll have an opportunity to have rebuttal. So. Thank you. Okay, we'll move into public testimony at this point, and as I said, I do have the two forms here from Paul and from Tammy. And I'll just go ahead for the record and ask first for anybody that would like to speak I should also just ask, do we know if there is anybody, even though there's nobody that signed up, nobody online?
No one online.
Okay, great. I'll ask for people that are in favor of the application, and I think Paul, you would mark yourself as a proponent. If you would like to speak tonight, you're welcome to do that. We just ask you to maybe take a seat next to Eric there.
We have a time limit?
Yeah, we listed some, but I think we're,
Flex.
yeah, we're okay. Yeah.
Stay here. Please, take a seat.
Yeah, just have a seat. And then just even though you've written it down already, Paul, just your name and address, please.
Yeah, I'm Paul Mayer, 17059 Southwest Sealy Lane, here in Sherwood.
Thank you.
I'm a member of St. Francis. I'm on the maintenance committee. I helped develop the new music room. And just for observation, being in the school, looking at the music room while their students are in there, they're really packed. And also with the art room, I've been in the art room, talked to the kids, talked to the teacher, and it's very difficult to, put on a classroom with that many students in the room with confined space. So I'm totally in support of the new addition to the school. The school has really grown since I moved here in 2010. And Denise has made a tremendous improvement to the school, brought in a lot of she and the teachers, who are wonderful, brought in a lot of new students from, not only our own parish and the Catholic community, but from the Sherwood School District. We have a lot of students from the Sherwood School District that aren't Catholic because of our quality of education. So, like I said, I totally support the new building. Just finished the remodeling of our church that was, well behind the times. And our previous pastor was all his three back that had been there a long time. his total concentration was on building building the school. So no money went into the church for years. And we just finished, remodeling the parish. And so now it's time to work on the school, so I'm 100% behind that project. That's it.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Unless you have any questions.
Thanks, Paul.
I do not, Paul, no, thank you, though. Okay, I'll just, again, for the record, is there anybody else that would like to speak in favor, that's not formally a part of the application, the applicant's team? And I assume there's not, but it's just good to get these things on the record. Okay, is there anybody here that would like to speak against or opposed to the application? And there will be a moment for, you had marked other, Tammy, so I'll assume you might be next, but if you fall into the category of opposed, you're welcome to speak now as well.
You don't.
Okay. All right, we'll then move on then to anybody that would like to provide either neutral testimony or raise another issue. And Tammy, go ahead. And again, just name and address if you don't mind. please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Tammy Butt, 15618 Southwest Farmer Way in Sherwood. Been living there since 1999. And you mentioned in your rules, and I want to obey them, that I'm to ask my questions to you.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, if you,
There'll be-
if you could, yeah. that way. And then I'm sure the applicant will take a shot at answering them when.
So I also want to point out that I am not opposed. I want to be a really good neighbor. But I also really beg you guys to be good neighbors to us as well. So back on the slide that had talked about the path, it showed the whole area. It was the one that had the little circle where the sidewalk was a little narrow. That slide with a little circle on it. If you could, a little further out, yeah. While he's getting to that, I only have 4 minutes, so I'll do my best.
Oh, give me flexible.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I think.
There you go.
Yes, okay, thank you. So I also attended the land use hearing for the gym. And I went for beers with Mr. Langer afterwards, so it was very amicable. We had 3 major concerns: noise, traffic, and light. So our original concern was those parking spaces that you can see to the upper right of where the circle is. Those point directly into my kitchen, directly. Prior to that, on the original plan, you guys collectively told us that that was going to be basketball courts, but it wasn't. My concern is when that changed, we weren't notified or involved. When we complained for years about the light, you guys you put this tarp up, which kind of blocked it, but then it fell down about a year later, which did not help with the lights shining directly into our house. So my concern is, I didn't realize that you were already at 218 students. So 245 isn't gonna make that big of a difference. But the traffic that goes around for the pickup and the drop off, and the cars sit there and are just idling, waiting either to drop off or pick up, is a little uncomfortable. It's about 30 feet away from my backyard, but I just want to make you aware of it. Is the bullhorn, here's my question, is the bullhorn for picking up the kids entirely necessary every single day? That's a question. How are you going to control the noise when other people rent the property that's not you? They pick their athletic people up at 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes I think it's the older brother, and he plays the stereo so loud I can hear it over the TV in my own house. So, as mentioned previously, I want to be a good neighbor. I love the kids. When they're outside playing, it's such a joyful sound. It's amazing. But the lights shining directly into my house, we did eventually build a fence. And by the way, thank you for paying for half of it. I appreciate that, because it really did make a difference. We put a fence up. I just want to, going forward, ensure that it's going to be the same streetlights that point down and not radiate. If we could get a time limit on when lights will be shut off at night, so they're not the gym, the big glowing, my husband calls it the spaceship, that big glowing lights, it just radiates our entire backyard and into our house. We've been here since '99. We bought the property because the beautiful green space that was behind it, that is just getting smaller and smaller. Again, I want to be a good neighbor. So my question is, are you going to address streetlights, traffic, and noise? Are you planning on making any changes to that? Are they going to stay the same? Are the hours going to be the same? What can I expect going forward from my good neighbors?
Okay, I have a question for you, just so I'm clear. The light that you're having issues with, that's from a lamp or a street light, or is it from, at first I was thinking maybe it was from the cars that might park in there, or is
So
it
it-
both?
Yeah, it's both. Yeah,
Okay.
all three actually. So there's three sources. So the cars that park head in, their lights shine directly into my house. Oh, it's okay. Mouse. All right. So my house is about right here.
Okay.
Is this slot. And so these cars that park here, they go nose in, and obviously in the summer, two things. It's summer, there's no school, but also it's daylight and people don't use their headlights as much. But getting to be this time of year, the headlights shine in. People who are picking up students will sit there with their cars running and their lights on, waiting. So there's that one. We did build a good neighbor fence and it has made a huge difference.
Okay.
So the headlights. The street lights, we actually like the ones that were put in with the extension of the gym because they're downward facing. So they don't radiate, those are fine. So I wanna make sure that those are the same ones going in new section. The final light source is the gym itself. It's about, I don't know, 10 feet of glass, maybe 12 feet tall, and it's illuminates the whole, it's a massive light source and it just shines. And there have been nights where the lights were left on all night, and it just glows into my backyard. In the summer, not so bad, because the trees and everything block it better, but in the winter, it literally illuminates my whole, like we had to get blackout curtains because the lights were on. I'm fine up until like 9 or 10 o'clock, but can you just be sure it gets shut off after that?
And you had mentioned having time limits on a light, so I assume that's the gym light that you're
Please,
referring to?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then again, the pickup and drop off traffic, I can't see any other way that you could route that many cars at that time, so I understand that needs to be done. I just wish it wasn't the case, I guess, is my stipulation. Again, I wanna be a good neighbor, but somebody got so irritated with me continually sending photographs of cars that you blocked me on your Facebook page. So, I didn't. So I tried to work with someone, but it didn't work, so we ended up just having to build the fence.
Okay. All right, I'm sure the applicant can respond to at least a few of those things.
And staff may have, we need to look at code, but staff may have some comments.
Okay, yeah, that'll come at the end of the hearing. So
Thank you.
anything more to say for right now?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Tammy.
Yep.
Okay, and then again, just to exhaust this for the record, is there anybody else that would like to provide any neutral testimony? And if not, then we will give the applicant some time for comments and rebuttal. And then, of course, staff some time as well. It sounds like Eric may have a comment or two. So So I don't know if the applicant wants to have any response, but it's certainly your opportunity at this time.
The gym, we're not renting it out to the crew that was last year there. And I'm only going to rent it to one source, a volleyball source, and I will ask them to please back in so that the lights, I will do that for you. The blowhorn, that's me. When you're moving that many kids, but I'm only out there maybe 10 minutes. It's not very long and it just gets everybody moving in their cars. Otherwise, kids don't listen when you have that many, so my voice can only go so loud. The fence, I felt obligated to pay half, so, and you're welcome. I don't have Facebook, so I didn't block you. We'll do better, you know, I just send me an email, now I know who you are, so we try. But I wanna be a good source to the community, as many Sherwood residents use our parking lot for the Hawksview field, for soccer and everything, and I understand. So, we'll just continue, we'll try to be good stewards with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I forgot one more, can I just mention one more thing?
Yeah, I'll
Oh, thank you.
go ahead. Yeah, just if the last one though, just, I know it seems very formal and it's obviously a very informal time, but
Right.
we need to kind of follow the specifics. So go ahead.
There have been things that I said, hey, you have a movie night on Thursday nights, can you move it to Friday night? Because we get up to work at 5 AM and you guys did. And I love your walking path, I walk my dogs through your walking path, like, I love the kids. So I'm, that's why I'm not opposed. I'm
I
not
understand.
opposed.
I understand.
Thank you.
You guys want me to speak to that design?
Great. Anything else applicant wise, whether it's in response to Tammy or anything else that you wanted to?
Yeah, we're gonna have the architect speak to the design.
So I just want to clarify what's changing that should not impact the neighborhood. There's no additional area lights being put in. We're reusing what's there. We're actually removing some area lights that are in the parking that are going away. So there's no changes to the area lights. There's no changes to the parking that is adjacent her house. There's no changes to the gym nearby her house. We're actually pulling away the pre-K play from where you see there's little squiggly lines that indicate stormwater treatment. That's where the kids are currently playing, closer to the neighborhood. We're pulling them back and putting them in a fenced play area adjacent to the building. So there'll be less noise, less light. If it is something where we the lights that are remaining, they could be changed to like a type 4 that has less dispersal. I mean, that could be considered. But the impacts to the north are generally less, not more. The road that you see at the drive that you see at the north side, it formerly went more west to east instead of slanting down. So she's probably the neighborhood will get less lights pointing towards the north there because of just the shape. There'll be that elbow on the top left. But aside from that, they're mostly pointing down now. So yeah, we've tried to replace trees wherever we've removed them. Very minimally. We're required to keep a certain amount of trees for the canopy coverage, and you'll see some new ones that are darker circles by the elbow where we're putting in more trees. So there's an attempt to mitigate impacts.
Okay, great. Are those, and maybe this is actually more of a question for staff, so I'll wait on it. I want to make sure that you all get any more. If you had more to say, you didn't want to interrupt you.
That's it.
Great. So now would be the time to just get any staff comments. And Eric, it sounds like you might have.
I'm gonna yield to Art if he has
Okay.
any, but
Go ahead, Art.
if you
have
have
any.
anything.
I don't have any additional comments to.
I'm much more dangerous with the code than Art is, given my time here, so. Yeah, so, on the, starting with the lights, you know, if the parking, was approved, previously, then there would have been a standard. Right now, the code standard is, for areas between a parking area and a property line, it's a 10-foot separation requirement under the current code. Again, we'd have to go back to see what the, you know, criteria was when it was approved. It may have been a little bit different, but just kind of let you know what the code does now. It would require a 10-foot separation between the parking area and the property line with landscaping. So that's what the code standard is now, although this was approved previously, so it would have been subject to the code at that time.
Is that to the property line then, the separation under the current code?
Yeah, under the current code, the question would be, you know, is that area being impacted by the development? So if that parking area that's shown there and the landscaping are being modified based on this approval, which sounds like it's not, but if it was, then it would need to come up to current standard. So if it's not being touched, then it should be in conformance based on the previous approval. And should be able to remain, and it would be kind of good neighbor, you know, outcome there. Additional landscaping might be a good idea if you're already getting in there doing landscaping on a sort of voluntary basis. So that's in terms of vehicle lights. In terms of exterior lighting, and it sounds, and I'll just confirm, there's no new exterior pole lights, it doesn't sound like?
Right.
Okay. If for some reason there is in the future, there is a code standard that basically says, and I'll give the reference, just for the record, 16.152.010. Basically says that any exterior lights, need to be pointed down, like it sounds like some of them are now. And then, very technical, but I think it's 0.5. You might know this as an architect, 0.5 candles for candles.
Yeah.
0 point, it cannot exceed 0.5 at the property line. So, again, because you're not if you were adding new lighting, or if in the end you do, it would need to comply with that standard as new lighting. Any existing lighting, you know, would have met the code at the time it was installed. So that's lighting. Noise, you know, because this is, you know, you're not, say, operating a new manufacturing building, you know, that's going to be creating new noise. There's really not a code standard that applies, I guess, to the new development. But just to be fair to anybody, residents and the public, we do have standards around noise. And so that would be an existing code compliance issue. And so, you know, we're complaint based. Anyone could submit a complaint anytime that that code might be violated. We would send someone out or talk and see if there's an actual violation. So noise would be worked out through existing as an existing issue through code compliance. And then traffic impact analysis with this, Art?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So there would have been a traffic impact analysis, and, you know, in terms of just general, you know, public street traffic, that would have addressed that. We do have, on-site vehicle circulation standards and the code, and there should be findings in the code related to driveway width, you know, striping, et cetera, to sort of regulate and control on-site circulation. So I guess that's my response in terms of the code. Again, lighting, anything new would need to comply with the current code. Doesn't sound like there is anything new. Noise would be an existing, and I might add, if there's concerns about lighting, you know, in terms of what was installed in the past, if there's concerns that it might not meet code, that'd be another code, code compliance complaint that we would investigate. And traffic, again, there's traffic impact analysis, and on-site circulation for vehicles meets the code per the staff report.
Great, thanks, Eric. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and I believe we're at that point, I'm just gonna double check, yes. Go ahead and close the public hearing. And I didn't see a request or hear a request to continue or keep the record open, so I'm gonna go ahead and orally approve the application as presented with that additional condition. Wanted to just sort of, I guess, echo sort of what Eric said about, I think some of the issues that Tammy raised, totally legit. I live in a relatively packed area myself, and I think the issue here that I see is that nothing that they're adding to in this particular application necessarily triggers specifically some of the issues that you raised. That said, you know, it's always good to hear that people keep open lines of communication, and that I think it sounds like you have people here that at least will, you know, try to work with you to the extent those issues kind of persist. So I don't think there's anything specific that I can necessarily add or change with respect to some of those issues, but I would hope that both sides, if there are problems, you keep talking. That's really what's most important. So with that, I guess the one thing I didn't mention was a timing on my end. I get a written decision out. Eric or Art, but Art, you're so new, I guess you wouldn't know the answer to this because I don't know the answer to this. Is there a deadline on hearings officer's decision in the city's code? Okay, I know you have
120 days.
Okay, in the 120 days out to, I think, December, I'm clearly not gonna take that long. There are some times where counties and cities will say, like, within 10 days of this point, I need to have a decision out. Maybe a little longer than that, but I would say within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I would have a written decision that would then be subject to appeal to, I believe, the planning commission.
So we can work with you after the hearing on when we need to send the notice of decision, the initial notice of decision, so that in case there is an appeal, we can meet.
That's what I was just thinking of, so we can talk about making sure that my schedule doesn't disrupt any potential local. You know, Eric, could it go to the council as well, or is the planning commission?
Our appeal procedures are kind of lengthy, though. They went to follow the same appeal procedure or as notice procedures as the original.
Okay.
So we do need, we
Understood.
need a little bit of lead time there.
So I'll get it to you when, make sure all that happens. Okay, well, with that, I think we're finished for this evening. Thanks for everybody's time, being civil, and that's always a nice thing. So we're finished.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You.
Feel free to reach out. I don't have to park, so this is.
Oh.
Paul, I don't believe what Lois Marie says about you.
Well, yeah, you're so new to the.
Thank you.
All about.
Thank you. I apologize. We didn't give you the pump of.
That's okay.
You know what?
No, like
It's fine.
We'll be, next time with the weather.
Bye, Max. Thank you.
Are there enough ways to sort of make mistakes?
How you doing?
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
No, Fran.
I get it.
So.
Way you're.
I appreciate it.
Eric, we need to.
Oh.
Thank you.
Stop share, and then you can send it, and then
Grab that, and I'll get these guys.
on the bottom right.